We are changing lives. We're making a difference to thousands and millions of children's lives by being here and through what we do. We are sowing seeds for the future. We're sowing seeds that's going to change this world.
Children and youth deserve a better future. Better future, better situation than where we are now. Because violence is a violation of the life God desires for every child.
Lagi po natin tatandaan na tayo po mga kabataan ay pag-asa ng bayan. Nasa ating mga kamay yung future ng mga saling lahi ng ating bansa.
Ang nakita ko, World Vision was able to create projects that is able to sustain them, to teach them and educate them kung paano sila mabubuhay ng pangsarili nila.
Dahil binigyan kami ng sapat na kabuhayan ng World Vision, nung hindi ko kaya ibinigay noon sa mga pangangailangan ng mga anak ko, unti-unti na bibigay ko na ngayon.
Naniniwala kami na kapag ang mga batang Pinoy makapagtapos ng kanilang pag-aaral, mas uunlad yung bayan natin.
Sana wag silang mawala ng pag-asa kahit na ang daming problema, ang daming nagiging hadlang para makuha nila yung pangarap nila, para makuha nila yung edukasyon na gusto nila. Patuloy lang na lumaban.
Thanks to Papa, it's easy for us to study and makes learning more exciting.
With good result, the Division of Sarangani decided to institutionalize the culture of reading in the whole division.
Tumaas yung antas ng edukasyon ng mga bata. Dahil sa kanila, mananatili ang World Vision at mga sponsor sa isip namin. Higit lalo sa aming puso. Saludo kami lahat.
Children and youth can provide solution as well to prepare, mitigate, and build back better when crisis happen.
Nagpapasalamat kami sa World Vision sa pagsusuporta sa aming munisipalidad. Ngayon, masasabi ko na handa ng dagamin sa mga posibleng emergencies at kalamidad.
World Vision reiterates its commitment to help ensure that children of Marawi are provided for.
Kailangan maging handa sa mga gantong suliranin. Alamin ang mga dapat pagandahan at iwasan upang hindi umabot sa panganib ang ating kalagayan sa panahon ng kalimidad o sakuna. Dapat ready.
Yung naging focus ng Mother Baby Friendly Philippines project, paano natin ma-regulate ang distribution ng mga breast milk substitutes and to raise awareness kung ano yung breastfeeding and kung bakit ito importante para sa mga anak at para sa mga nanay.
To all the sponsors and donors, thank you for your support in providing better quality of life for the children.
Doing this in World Vision because we believe the Social Innovation Challenge, or finding those innovative minds, the game changers as we call them, will be instrumental in solving problems such as education and agriculture, as I mentioned.
Naging inspirasyon ko ay ang aking sponsor sa World Vision. Salamat sa Panginoon na may isang katulad niya na handang tumulong sa isang katulad kong bata. Kayo po ay isang tunay na bayani.
Sa ginagawa niyo po, tinutulungan niyo po mag-transform ang buhay ng mga bata at makita niyo ang kanilang halaga na tumulong din sa mga kapwa-bata.
I feel blessed, honored, and privileged to have been used as an instrument to share God's love dun sa aking sponsor child. So, proud my heart is full.
Let's all pay it forward. Maliit na bagay ito sa atin, pero napakalaki nun para sa kanila. Let's give them hope. Let's give them a brighter future.
I would encourage more people into the fold of World Vision for them to be able to enrich their lives as well as what I have did with mine.
Everyone who have already donated and to those who continue to support us, thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. God bless you.
Before we begin our program, let us all come down and have a moment of prayer. Lord, thank you for gathering us together for the CSR Summit for these 2 days. We pray that we learn from each other and how we can truly live out the spirit of Bayanihan as individuals and as private and public sectors. Guide us today, in Jesus' name, amen. Let us all rise for the Philippine National Anthem. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Day 2 of World Vision's virtual CSR Summit 2020, entitled Doing Good is Good Business, Corporate Social Responsibility in the Midst of the Pandemic. Yesterday, we learned from our panel of speakers how to protect our company's stakeholders in the face of this COVID-19 pandemic. For our Day 2, our speakers here will share their knowledge on how doing good is good for the brand and how doing good is good for the employees. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we learn more about how doing good is really good business. Again, we encourage everyone to participate in the discussion by writing down your questions and reactions in the comment section or live chat below if you're using your mobile phone. But if you're on your laptop or desktop, you will see it at the right side of your screen. We will collect questions later for our Q&A portion for each session. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But before we begin, we would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors and partners for this event. Our corporate partners, Urbanize and New Elements, our media partners, Inquire.net, Business Mirror, RMN Foundation Incorporated, Net25, and Business World. Our event partners, Ardent Communications, Marketing Interactive, Asia CEO, Page One, Manila, the Luzon Daily, the Visayas Journal, the Mindanao Life, the Philippine Post, Women.ph, and the Public Relations Society of the Philippines. All right, so for our first topic of the day is doing good is good for the brand. And we have invited experts from various industries for this afternoon. So our first speaker is Mr. Norman Agatep. Norman has 30 years of experience in corporate and marketing communication, with expertise in the disciplines of public relations, advertising, and digital marketing. He has served as president of the Internet and Mobile Marketing Association of the Philippines, chairman of the Association of Accredited Advertising Agency of the Philippines for 2 terms, and chairman of the Ad Standards Council. This year, he is president of the Public Relations Society of the Philippines and a member of the Board of Trustees for the 4As. Norman is a frequent speaker on such topics as reputation and crisis management, integrated marketing, communication, advertising and the big idea, PR in marketing, and corporate social responsibility. He is also a faculty member of the Ateneo, the Manila University, teaching strategic planning and communication and public relations to students of the Communications Department. Norman is also a recipient of the 2017 CEO Excel Award given by International Association of Business Communicators Philippines. This recognition is bestowed upon business leaders who have utilized communication strategically and innovatively to impact their companies and communities. Outside work, he is an award-winning record producer, a self-taught photographer and painter, and a frustrated poet. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Norman Agatep.
Thank you very much, Laika, and to World Vision for inviting the Public Relations Society of the Philippines to be part of your momentous event today. I'm very happy to share my thoughts on CSRs, which is a big thing and a very important thing to discuss as we work through the pandemic that we are in. And today's topic of doing good is good business is especially important to me. In the case of my presentation, I've titled it, Doing the World a World of Good is Good. So allow me to start sharing with you my thoughts on this. First, I'd like to pose a question to all of our attendees at this summit today. When the world faced COVID-19, what did you do to help? Maybe let that sink in. Now that we are in a pandemic, what have we been doing to help ease the troubles of the communities in which we participate or contribute to? And similarly, as we move toward a post-pandemic era, we might also want to ask, what will your company legacy be by then? Obviously, the world has changed and so drastically that we ourselves, our personal lives have been changed, and so too therefore must our own businesses and the way that we run our CSR programs. Sino pa nga ba ang mag-a-adjust kundi tayo? The changes the world has experienced today are so great that we cannot help but adjust. The world is certainly a different place from what it was before the lockdown in March. And those of us that survive this global crisis will never emerge the same again. We will not. We shall so be affected by all the changes that have happened in the last few months. Our businesses and brands have not been spared, of course, and to operate as if nothing has happened, parang walang nangyari, kebs lang, is very naive. So therefore, it is even more important today that we ask ourselves what we are doing to help, because what we indeed do to help today will define how people will see us after the pandemic. A little context, perhaps. Maybe in several decades before today, the world was different, and the case of CSRs were different as well. David Jones, who is another communication professional, likes to divide corporate communication practice into ages. And he says that in 1990 to about 2000, we were in the age of image. This is when CSRs were used almost like a facade. Like we would have our big vision statements, our mission statements plastered on the walls of our lobbies, or recorded as hold music in our phones, or the text of souvenir programs would outline our supposed missions and visions. But more often than not, these statements, or at least what we said as our corporate vision, did not necessarily match what we did. Think of brands like in the 90s who received a lot of flack, were like Huggies, who claimed that they were using very organic materials in their diapers, eco-friendly materials in their products. But nonetheless, their diapers were amongst the products that occupied much of the landfills. Or maybe even Toys R Us, which at that time had produced eco-friendly bags, but who nonetheless were producing plastic toys, which were not so very eco-friendly. So it felt like these supposed CSR projects were only a facade. Then in 2000 to 2010, we entered the age of advantage, when people realized through the experience of those brands and Toys R Us, and even British Petroleum, which was responsible for one of the biggest oil spills then, companies began to realize that it was an advantage to walk your talk, to therefore really implement CSR programs that matched what we said we were doing. That was the age of advantage. Today, however, we are in the age of damage, where it's going to be very damaging to your company and your brand if you do not engage in any type of corporate social responsibility program at all. And the reason for that is the advent of technology and the way that consumers today are empowered with so much information that they receive through the internet from everywhere around the world. We are also in the age of the ethical consumer. Again, these are consumers who are empowered with information via technology. These consumers do not leave their consciences at the door of the stores, do not go to a QSR or quick service restaurant, eat their hamburger, and are fully satisfied. The taste or the mouthful fill of the hamburger is no longer enough to satisfy them. They need to know more about the brands that they're patronizing. And for brands that are at parity, kasing sarap, kasing mahal, they would choose the brand that has done good. They want to know more about the names behind the product. They want to know if the company is making unsavory investments, if they're employing child labor in China. They want to know what their political platforms are, if they are taking stands on issues that are relevant to them. And if these consumers feel aligned with the thinking and beliefs of the brands, then they are more likely to patronize those brands. That is the ethical consumer today. Global Web Index, they executed a survey just last January 2020, right before the pandemic. And while the respondents were mostly from the US and UK, I feel that there's some info or data that we can resonate with. They say, for example, that 68% of online consumers would or might stop using a brand because of poor or misleading CSR. They're not happy with the brand CSR projects. They don't believe in the causes they stand for. They will probably rally their friends to boycott such brands. 68% of them. The survey also reveals that 84% say a poor environmental track record would or might cause them to stop buying a brand. Ganun ka-powerful. And this is really propelled by the woke generation, 43% of which are even willing to pay a premium for a brand which has a positive impact on the environment or the society. So they will reward those brands, apparently. The brands they feel are doing good, they are willing to reward those brands by patronizing those brands and even paying a premium for their products. And if you think the boomers are far away, not so much. A good 1/3 of them, of the 55 to 64-year-olds, will also pay a premium for brands that do good. Now, that was in January of 2020. I strongly believe that in our age today of the pandemic, even more so. And while this slide is titled A Range of CSR Opportunities Today, I don't want us to think that we're taking advantage of the misery of people during this pandemic. All I want to say is that now that people need our help, there are more chances for us to do good, more reason for us to do good today. So the pandemic has opened up so many doors for us to do good, which the world is watching and waiting for us to do. Let's take a few examples. Yesterday, we've already discussed the importance of protecting and supporting customers and employees. And brands have been doing many variations of this. Sometimes they're catering to consumers who are quarantined at home because they know that we are all just working from home these days. And so brands like Union Bank developed a mobile bank that goes to the communities where the bankers need them. Or perhaps something as simple as Slimmers World is conducting now its Zumba classes, no longer live, of course, but online, so people can still manage their health while they are in quarantine. Or McDonald's for a time being, because people could not go to the restaurants. They could, however, avail of the ready-to-cook chicken parts of McDonald's if they bought the products in supermarkets. So the idea is trying to bring the brand experience, which people are not readily available to people. This brand experience can be brought to your doorstep. Or other ways is ensuring the safety and protection in establishments, especially now that many of them have begun opening. So brands like Safeguard and SM Malls, for example, have collaborated to ensure that people who go to malls are protected with Safeguard products. Or sometimes for financial institutions, they've been waiving fees and extending due dates. So think of banks that are extending due dates to borrowers, or service providers that are offering installment bills payments plans. Or perhaps if you have employees, it means extending financial help to you and other forms of help that we need. SM, for example, assures employees of salaries, financial help for guards and janitors, and their malls have waived tenant rentals nationwide wherever the SM malls are present. These are only some examples of protecting and supporting customers and employees. But there are other CSR projects as well during this pandemic. Being the business people need you to be has also become popular these days, where manufacturing companies have transformed their factories to produce things we need, like PPEs and hand sanitizers. And so you have fashion designers who are stopping operations kasi wala naman po ikakasal at kailangan ng wedding dress. Designers are helping to produce instead PPEs. And distillers are not necessarily producing gin and whiskey because of the alcohol ban, but have been producing hand sanitizers instead. Emirates, for example, has become a transporter of stranded Pinoys in UAE because that is the business we need them to be at this moment. Or sometimes companies or brands are transforming spaces because they have all of this real estate, changing them into swabbing facilities or dormitories like the SMOA Arena, which is now a mega swabbing facility. And for a time in the past, the LaSalle has opened its corridors and halls to the homeless and to some frontliners who needed space at night in between shifts, right? And then there are those who are channeling resources to those who can help. These are for brands that have more disposable income and have the resources to help out. So extending food and other help to frontliners, easily packaged meals as well as bottled water. But if you have more money to spare, donating or raising funds for medical supplies and research, like SM Foundation and a Mercury Drug, which has donated substantial amounts to help those in need at this moment. but even more recently, helping to spur economy by facilitating ways for businesses to flourish has been in demand. A recent research from our friends at Fast Forward MR have indicated that small and medium scale businesses, and that's roughly 90 to 95% of business owners in the Philippines, are in dire need of help, right? And so brands like yesterday's Grab have been providing livelihood opportunities for Quezon City, and banks have been creating products for small and medium scale enterprises and even for the government so that they can continue running despite the lockdown. So many opportunities for brands to perform CSR because there's an opportunity to good currently, so that in the future they can be more remembered for the goodness that they have performed in the communities where they operate. A friend of mine now with Philip Morris says it very succinctly. She says, "We want to see you behaving in ways that show you are concerned about protecting your employees, customers, communities from the current pandemic and the economic tsunami that it's generating. We want to know that you are human and that you care." That is what we are craving for, that knowledge, that assurance that the brands that we are patronizing are behaving well. Because during a pandemic, people over profits makes better sense. Compassion over profit, over commerce, compassion over commerce makes better sense. I'd like to move on, however, to other topics with regard to CSRs. And for those companies who are wondering how can they get it right, what do they do to start their CSR programs? Obviously, we just need to know and to be certain about what it is that our brand can offer. Be true to your essence and what you're good at. What is your territory? What can you do so well, right? And sometimes some CSR people believe that your CSR programs ought to be tied in somehow to your bottom line so that the CSR programs are directly benefiting from the funds that you earn as a business. Next thing to realize is that we need to know what stakeholders do need, and we match therefore what we are offering with what the community needs. In the age of the empowered ethical consumer, we cannot just bandwagon. No? We need to be relevant and authentic. If we have nothing to offer at the moment, maybe rethink our ideas. And once we are certain about type of CSR project we are capable of executing, then we do so. Because consumers who are very savvy these days might be able to smell if you are not authentic in your performance or in execution of a CSR project. And it is not the right time to be sensed as inauthentic in doing good. And lastly, it's about employees too. Many businesses forget that our own employees are stakeholders as well, internal as they may be. No? So how do businesses treat their people, and how do our employees fit in the CSR strategies that we have for our brands? And once we had the CSR project, we will realize that there are benefits of putting that in front and center. CSR practices at the heart of brand loyalty and building a base of loyal customers is important to achieve repeat business even after the pandemic. Again, another survey also by Fast Forward MR has revealed that marketing officers of companies today are appropriating more budget for customer loyalty and CSRs because they do realize that, again, what we do today will build loyalty in the future after this pandemic. Consumers also are not only willing to buy more frequently from brands with a strong CSR message, as we pointed out, they will also pay more for the products of these brands. On the flip side, there are consequences of a weak CSR strategy. People may boycott your brand, and you do have woke individuals who are rallying their friends to do that if they don't agree with your CSR strategies. So therefore, brands must ensure they're building loyal customers, and without the trust and transparency, that's going to be very hard to establish or achieve. Your brand may also be put in the spotlight, and you may be pressured by consumers everywhere to be more responsible because they like to dig into your past and the things that you're doing behind the ads that you put out there. As a last section of my discussion, I'd like to point out, though, that CSR is also transforming. Just as I mentioned, where CSR or corporate communication has been transforming over the ages, I feel that there are more indications of another shift soon. Right? Today, we are seeing, especially because of the last few months in lockdown, that charity begins at home. Many CSR projects, I feel, are going to move this direction, where increased pressure will be on companies to first take care of their own staff, and even for nations to consider their citizens first. A lot of companies right now are rallying for all of us. Yesterday, it was discussed already, yung ingat, angat tayong lahat, where companies are really collaborating and encouraging the nation to support our local products and to enjoy the products that are here in the Philippines, so that our economy can be sustained. And the same thing, all trying to rally each other to patronize the local mom and pops, those who are baking their ube cheese pandesals, so that those businesses can flourish. We will also be looking for new metrics for success, because companies will need to revisit their operations and what they value the most. What societal issues were most important to you in the pre-pandemic world, and are they still the same? We need to ask those questions. And while we often want to think of our brand purpose as a North Star, perhaps because of this pandemic, because it was so shocking, and because it changed our lives, we might want to reconsider the path towards our North Star. These days, for example, we are now adding to the equation the importance of mental health. That's something probably not as much discussed before the pandemic as it is a metric for success these days. 2 more points. Harnessing digital. The need for agility and adaptive leadership will mean incorporating digital to CSR. So we will be looking now for ways to volunteer from the apps at our homes, or allowing brands to cooperate, and maybe crowdsourcing for via digital platforms to design our CSR programs soon. And lastly, there will be increased accountability and partnerships, where stakeholders will demand even more transparency and involvement in how CSR will be conducted post-pandemic. And companies will be willing to collaborate, as in the case of SM and Safeguard, as in the case of Union Bank and Lazada, which has designed products for shoppers online, and so many other collabs, because we cannot do it alone. So putting it all together, let me make it clear. Every day is a good day to do something good. Hindi porket pandemic, ngayon lang tayo gagawin. Every day is a good day to do something good. Well, especially now, because consumers not only expect that, they demand it. And in fact, they will pay a premium for brands that do good and reward you with loyalty. But it doesn't end there. The COVID has given us a chance to show our humanity. It's a chance for us to demonstrate that we mean what we say. What we do now will define how consumers will see us after this pandemic. And corollarily, what we do not say will also speak volumes about who we are. And so we ask, do we remain silent, or do we do something now? How will we be remembered after this crisis? And lastly, we are saying that consumers are also shifting, by the way, because of this pandemic. They are now considering more responsible and pro-social consumption. They are re-evaluating that they consume brands and products, and they are more inclined to consume more responsibility and decipher the impacts of their consumption today. And as a result, because the consumers are changing, because the world is changing, we might want to consider how our brands and CSR projects should evolve because of COVID-19. A theory that people are talking about. It's called the Black Swan event, and COVID-19 pandemic is such an event. COVID-19 has been likened to a Black Swan event, which is a shocking event that shakes and changes the world. The theory is that after such a shocking event, people, brands, companies are inclined to reevaluate what they did and think about what they should do so that this pandemic will never happen again. Diba meron tayong pag-iisip na yun, sana ginawa natin ito para hindi naging ganon. No? We will be imbibing that thought process again. what can we do so that this never happens to us ever and the generations after us ever again? COVID-19 represents one of the most significant environmental changes in modern marketing history, and this could potentially have a profound impact on the way we conduct CSRs. COVID-19 offers an opportunity for brands to shift toward more genuine, more authentic CSR programs and contribute to address urgent global social and environmental challenges. So, rethink everything. And why we do have a brand purpose as our Northern Star. Figure out what is more important now as learnings from the pandemic that we are experiencing. If there is any silver lining, I believe, from this pandemic, it's that we have been given an opportunity to reevaluate how we are running our own business. And perhaps this time around, we can do things better and perhaps avoid another catastrophe of this magnitude. So that's it. I'd like to thank again World Vision for inviting the Public Relations Society for this event. And we were happy to share our thoughts on CSRs and doing good. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Norman Agatep. What an insightful discussion and fully packed with all these facts and surveys. And like what Mr. Agatep said, it is the opportunity is now. If you haven't had a CSR project before, if you haven't had a trust before, and if you're looking for one, this is the right time to do it. And there's so many opportunities right now. And like what Mr. Agatep said, and even the discussion from day one is that it really can do damage to your branding if they don't remember you during the time of the pandemic. And not just to use this as an overstep with what we're going through, but really a chance to really help out. And the next speaker also will be sharing about that, and we've partnered with them as World Vision for a long period of time already, and to share with us the knowledge that she has gained through her years of experience in the supermarket industry. She is an AB Humanities graduate with a minor in history in the Ateneo de Manila University. So please welcome Robinson Supermarket Corporation's Marketing Manager, Ms. Angela Totanes.
Hi, good afternoon. COVID-19 promises itself to be something that everyone will remember. Sorry. It's so we're just sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties. I just need to move forward the slide. It's not this. Hindi siya yung- Hi. Okay, so I'm gonna start again. So good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank World Vision for inviting Robinson Supermarket to be part of this event. It's such an honor to be here today to share some of our projects here at Robinson Supermarket. So COVID-19 promises itself to be something that everyone will remember. So with over 300,000 that have tested positive for COVID-19 and many more people affected by loss of livelihood and disruption of our normal behavior or habit, the crisis brought about the question of how fast can brands or people can adapt to this new normal. So how are we going to respond during these critical times? My discussion is about doing good is good for brand on cost marketing amid the pandemic. So this is my outline. So some of the numbers that I'm going to show is what Sir Norman has shared earlier, doing good in numbers. So these numbers just show that people, when given an opportunity to help, will help. 90% of consumers feel that values are important when choosing brands. 83% of Filipinos feel that they find it important that retailers take a more sustainable approach. 72% feel that it is important to buy from companies that reflect their values. And 67% people will pay more to contribute to a good cause. So the survey shows that customers or people respond better to brands that are also aligned to their values. So these are the ethical consumers that Sir Norman also mentioned in his presentation earlier. So cost marketing involves a collaboration between business and a non-profit organization. It has a unique potential to build loyalty for brands. And when customers or people feel that they are presented with an opportunity to help, they do so. So that's what the numbers are also showing. So through the years, surveys have shown great interest on a trend in health and wellness. So even before the pandemic, Robinson Supermarket has been working towards this advocacy on health and wellness because we feel that it is relevant to everyone. It wasn't an easy task, but the supermarket was committed to do it. So what we did was to really restructure our vision and mission towards this advocacy. So our vision and mission is to be a supermarket of choice, known for fresh and healthy food, clean, hygienic stores, competitive prices, and excellent customer service. Our mission is to educate and empower our customers in their choice of food and products that promote healthy living. So this has been our guide towards all of our projects, and our managing director has said it best that we are very clear about our equity on health and wellness. It is our mission to continue to educate and empower our customers to make healthier choices. So doing good, so with wellness, we wanted our goal is to make it accessible, affordable, easy, and fun. We feel that we can speak better to our customers with shared experiences and going with them in their wellness journey. So I'm going to discuss how Robinson Supermarket has been working towards this goal. So doing good consistently in every touch point and how we could engage our consumers from the time that they visit the supermarket to a lot of other activities that we've launched through the years. So an example is when you enter the supermarket, all Robinson Supermarket has this health and wellness section wherein food products have been categorized according to the top lifestyle diseases. So we wanted to make it easy for consumers to choose for products that would meet their need or lifestyle choice. We also work with the DOSD FNRI with a green shelf tag. We know that a lot of customers don't read the label. So with a color-coded tag, customers can know that a product is healthy. These products have at least have met at least 3 out of the 8 conditions that FNRI has put out. We've also made sure that when you enter the supermarket, our fresh section is one of the first things that you see. We have our salad bar. We also have worked with FNRI to work on some tips to make it educational for our shoppers and for people who bring along their kids when they do their grocery shopping. We also made an exclusive line of healthy products. We have Healthy You. It's very exclusive to Robinson Supermarket, a healthy brand. We have for oats and everything. And then we also launched our own bamboo collection from toothbrushes to wipes. And because this is our way of contributing to sustainability. We also created a lot of activities, year-long wellness activities to make wellness fun and accessible to everyone. So we wanted to make grocery shopping fun and enjoyable for even dads who are with the kids or mom while they do their grocery shopping. So one of their most popular events is our Fit and Fun Wellness Body Run. So over 5,000 runners would participate yearly, and except for this year, it would have been our 13th year. So this is just an example of what you will see in our year-long, in our Fit and Fun Body Run. So the second thing that we needed to do going into the in our wellness commitment is finding the right partner, because we automatically realized that we cannot do it alone. So we had to work with experts like FNRI, DOST FNRI, who has been our partner in wellness since 2007. They have been working with us in evaluating food products to the food products of our suppliers for free. They don't charge for this because, and then with their advice, we then display it in our health and wellness section. So they say that the supermarkets play an important role in influencing healthy food choices of the shoppers. So we wanted to make sure that education becomes part of our activities. So because of this effort, healthy products contribute 2.5% to the total supermarket sales. And the healthy products that have been approved already by FNRI has been growing. So right now it's at 1,089 products. Well, we also know that wellness is not just about eating healthy, exercising. It's also about the total well-being. It's about sharing. So we needed to work with a partner that can advocate wellness through us, through education and community development. And this is where World Vision has been our partner since 2005. So currently we have 121 sponsored World Vision kids, and then more than 8 million worth of donations since 2016. So we've been creating programs to support our sponsored kids through partners, to brand partners like URC. We even bought eco bags created by some of the communities that we work with. We created also, yeah. So we wanted to also, so given the pandemic, so doing good in times of crisis. So this is a good test, not good test for a supermarket on what can we do for our customers right now. We needed to make sure that the supermarket remain open during this period. So we remained open throughout ECQ. We didn't have any time to close our store, discuss our plans, but we just needed to make sure that we remain open. But before that, we also needed to make sure that our employees, our front retail warriors, will also be protected. So we set up safety protocols, daily sanitation, alcohol, provision of alcohol, shuttle services for our employees, and even lodging for some of our colleagues. So these are just examples of photos of how you've been doing. We've also launched a priority lane for frontliners. And then we also use available platforms like social and Facebook and Viber to share news about the store. So with the constant change in the regulations on what to do or the safety tips, we needed to be connected always to our consumers. And Facebook and Viber has been one of our platforms. We also launched our QR contact tracing to comply with the local LGU's regulations. We also updated our health and wellness section. From previously, it was just showcasing food products. And now, since we recognize that consumers wanted to go to the supermarket but also leave quickly, we needed to make it easy for them to access COVID-19 essentials like non-food products like face masks, face shields, alcohol, sanitizer, and even over-the-counter medicines. So this is another way for us to make shopping easy and safe for our consumers during this period. We also updated our fresh section to include or to highlight fresh produce that are known to boost the immune system. We also shared tips on how to consume this vegetables and produce. Given the demand for online grocery services, we also already have partners, other grocery partners. But given the demand during ECQ, we knew that we needed to launch Go Robinsons, our own online grocery store. So we're now servicing majority of the cities in Metro Manila. During this period, we are also needed to engage consumers online. Obviously, we had to cancel our Fit and Fun. So for the Nutrition Month in July, we decided to convert our Fit and Fun Wellness Body Run into an online activity. We needed to engage customers this in the and at the safety of their home. So these are just examples of screenshots of how consumers have been engaging with us in a 4-minute exercise or sharing the quick photos of their recipes while they were following Coach Tony or Chef JP. And we also wanted to make it easy for customers to do good. So in July, we launched the Share and Save program wherein customers will donate 5 pesos to World Vision's COVID-19 relief operation. So when this is automatic, so customers don't really have to put out their money. So every purchase in the supermarket, minimum 500 pesos, 5 pesos will be donated to World Vision. So at the end of that program, we are very pleased to share that we reached almost 500,000 pesos worth of donations to World Vision's COVID-19 relief operation. So this is giving with our customers' help. Since we've been working with World Vision for a number of years already, this has influenced other trade partners to work with World Vision as well. Trusted Nini Robinson Supermarket, they also trust World Vision that they have their good intentions at hand. So these are just some of the brands that work with World Vision during this period. So we created a chain of goodness. So we wanted to also make it easy for customers to give back by working with Robinson's Rewards and Robinson's Mall and encouraging customers to donate the Robinson's Rewards point at the safety of their homes. They don't really need to go to the supermarket to do this. So throughout the whole project, more than 1 million worth of Robinson's Rewards points were donated to frontliners. So this is yet to be endorsed. And then ongoing right now is a purchase of this Christmas basket, 10 pesos will also be donated to World Vision. So these are just some of the ways on how we have been working with our partners in surviving this pandemic and how making sure that we do our part in the capacity of the supermarket. So doing good does not fall on one department or one group of people in the organization. It involves everyone in the organization. So these are just examples of how doing good in every aspect of the business. So we've seen a photo of our supply chain who was considered as a frontliner who've been working hardworking during the entire period. So during this time, they also helped in distributing 14,495 masks to different Metro Manila hospitals. During this period, we also helped pick up produce from different parts, from Benguet and Nueva Ecija to Manila. So there are about 30 tons of produce. So these trucks who would deliver basic goods to our stores instead of going back to the to our warehouse empty-handed would pass by these local farmers to these local farms to get these produce. So we know that during that period, it's very difficult to transport goods from one location to another. So using our trucks, we are able to pick up these vegetables back to Manila for donation also to other beneficiaries. So another program that we launched during actually this was launched already previously as our Farm to Table project. Currently, we have 500 plus local farmers who are already part of the project. So our merchandising director also said previously that she said this that you are, yung common saying na you are what you eat. But in Robinson Supermarket, what we say is that we are how we sell. So it's very important to us on how we do business and how we can contribute to the communities that we serve. So as a summary, the 4 C's of cost marketing, or how we have been doing this, is that one, we needed to always know and listen to our customer, put them the center of our campaigns and or commitment basically. Or two is find the right cause or partner to work with you, because they will add credibility to the project, and since they are the expert, they can guide you through the whole process. We are very grateful to the OSD FNRI and also to World Vision, who has been assisting us for years on how we can really contribute or create an impact to the communities that we serve. And third is also be consistent. There are a lot of opportunities to help. As Sir Norman has also mentioned, a lot of activities that we can get into, or a lot of projects that we can support. But we needed to focus, go back to our why, or go back to our vision and mission, and see like, okay, health and wellness is our advocacy. And given our capacity as a supermarket, how are we going to relay this message, or how can we show our consumers that we are in this journey with them? How can we be consistent all throughout? So from the time that they visit the supermarket, and and even if they're out of the supermarket, we always want them to know that we have the best, and we want to serve them the best way that we can. So this is also the same with how we would like our trade partners, or how we would like to deal with our partners. Like, we want to share with them and learn with them on how we can best deal with the situation. Lastly, cost marketing is not just like one-off thing, or we just create a program and then we end it. It is a commitment that we are hoping that commitment to our consumers to do the best. And even if it's hard, or even if we do make mistakes, since we are accountable to them, we will always try to do better. So I would like to also share a video from Ingat Angat, because we also recognize that it is not just about one brand doing good, but it is a collective effort from everyone and individuals to do good.
Aangat tayo muli. Ito ang paniniwalang ating panghahawakan. Sa ngayon, pangamba at pagdududa ang pumipigil sa ating ibalik ang dating buhay. Pero aangat tayo muli. Dahil may isang bagay na hindi kayang kunin ng COVID sa atin. Ito ang ating pagiging matibay at determinado. Tayo ang lahing hindi natitinag ng bagyo, lindol, baha, at pagsabog ng bulkan. Paulit-ulit bumabangon, ilang beses mang gulpihin ng sakuna. Kaya, aangat tayo muli. Kakayanin natin muli ito. Sa palaging pagsuot ng mask at face shield, paghugas ng kamay, at pagpapanatili ng distansya, hindi mo lang inaalagaan ang iyong sarili. Kung hindi, pati na rin ang mga nakapaligid sa'yo. Sundan natin ang mga ito at magkasamang salubungin ang sikat ng araw sa mga paborito nating lugar. Walang kasiguraduhan ang mga darating na araw. Ang sigurado lang ay kapag isinapuso natin ang pag-iingat, aangat tayo muli. Ingat-angat tayong lahat.
So again, thank you to World Vision for inviting Robinson Supermarket to share some of our projects and for us to also learn from other invited guests. So again, we would like to say that we are committed to continue with you in this journey towards a healthier and better life. So thank you and please stay safe and healthy.
Thank you very much, Ms. Totanes, for providing us that incredible knowledge on this subject. And I love how you said that Robinsons is enabling your customers to already do good. So it doesn't have to be an extra effort, but Robinsons already doing the 5 peso campaign, the 10 peso campaign that would be directly be helping the communities for World Vision, and we're very grateful for that. And just seeing that it is really a commitment. Robinson Supermarket hasn't been just or they haven't just started now during this pandemic, but they have been with us years back, and people will remember that even after the pandemic. So thank you very much for giving us incredible knowledge on this subject matter. And to end the first part of this program this afternoon, we have today with us Ms. Ana Legarda Locsin. Ms. Ana is the Communications Director of Procter Gamble Philippines. She has led corporate and brand communications campaigns and serves externally on the board of the Philippine Association of National Advertisers. Please welcome Ms. Ana Legarda Locsin.
Hello, hi, good afternoon, everybody. Magandang hapon. Thank you for inviting Procter Gamble Philippines, or P&G, to be part of this World Vision CSR Summit. We were extremely delighted to accept and join this, not only because World Vision has been a longtime partner of P&G, but also we wanted to share and inspire other companies or groups in the audience today with our experience, and also to encourage them to invest in doing good in good times and in bad, which is actually when it's most needed. So doing good is indeed good for our brands, the brands that you all handle. This is very similar to how we capture our P&G citizenship efforts globally. At P&G, we always aim and we step up to be a force for good and a force for growth. So that's how we share it. In this slide, I just wanted to introduce the brands that P&G or Procter Gamble has in the Philippines to those who aren't familiar with it. So as we experienced this pandemic and during the recent ECQ, our P&G business was fortunately classified as essential goods because they were needed daily to maintain personal health and hygiene, especially in homes. So as you can see there, we hope that you've been familiar with and have been using our trusted market-leading brands like Safeguard, Ariel, Pampers, Head & Shoulders, Joy Dishwashing, in your homes as you were asked to only leave home for essential activity during those times. No? We hope that these brands were able to protect your homes and your families. But as you saw over ECQ and what is somewhat continuing today, when there is a crisis, either it's a natural calamity, a health crisis, even an economic crisis, it disrupts daily living, such as family and home security, job security, health practices and prevention and measures, company operations, supply chain, and so much more. It drastically changes the way we behave, our habits, our spending, the cost of operations, the businesses and the brands, and of course, our very important social interactions. After all, we are all human. So everyone is interconnected and no one is spared. So yes, fortunately, P&G was an essential goods and is an essential goods company. We were allowed to operate from day 2 of the ECQ, and we were a big part of household spending baskets. We experienced the spikes in consumer purchase habits. I think during that time, really consumers were sort of panic buying a little bit, but also people were just behaving the normal way that we've seen consumers around the world behave in response to the pandemic in those months. So we prided ourselves on agility and innovation, and we adapted to the changes in consumer mindset, behavior, and spending. As an example, we're glad to be on this panel with our partner Robinsons. We adjusted and we tried as quickly as we could to supply much needed goods to our customer partners like Robinsons, who serves millions of Filipinos and shoppers. so that we could be able to supply their audience, right? And as you heard Aja just say, she said just even staying open and employing their people and taking care of them and make sure that they were still fundamentally serving their shoppers, that in itself was a basic good, servicing the country during those hard times. But if you take a step back, it's not also sustainable for families, for communities in the country to live in a crisis or calamity mode. It's not sustainable, right? People can adjust at that certain point in time, but as time progresses and new developments unfold, whether it's government guidelines, consumer habits, behaviors and trends, spending habits, shopper habits, as time unfolds and these change again over the months, businesses, as we've seen, have become challenged. Job security became uncertain. People are spending differently. Some are even spending less in certain categories. Some are spending more. Even as these things happen, even our P&G product categories marked as essential goods are also impacted, right? So it comes back to the point of everyone is interconnected. No one is spared. And it's not sustainable for families, for communities to live in crisis. So it's very critical for private companies, private businesses to be able to help in whatever way they can, to lean in, to partner with government, NGOs, the public sector, whoever can help in the best manner possible. In order to better or improve the situation. This has been super true in the good times, times when there was no crisis, but there were still people, and there's always going to be people to be helped, communities to be helped, work to be done. But it has been more true, especially in these tough times that we see today. Now, some call this CSR or corporate social responsibility, where it's expected for companies, it's your duty as a corporate citizen to give back to the people and communities that support your business, almost like an obligation. But at P&G, we actually call this citizenship or being a good corporate citizen. If you'll see in my next slide, we actually don't do this as an obligation. We do it because it's the right thing to do, which is our time-honored principle in P&G, to always do the right thing even when no one is looking. So if we take a holistic view of areas that we feel we need to make a difference in because we can, and therefore we should, we don't see it simply as an obligation or much less charity. We do it from the belief that we must be a force for good in order to be a force for growth for our stakeholders. We must do good for our consumers, our employees, the communities we serve, the environment that sustains us, to be able to encourage growth and improvement. And this in turn also circles back. It helps our own business grow and build more consistently and more enduringly. We're not here for the short term. We're here for the long haul. So Procter Gamble, in case folks didn't know, is 85 years this year, this 2020 in the Philippines, but globally we're also over 150 years old. So we're here for the long haul, and therefore we must invest in seeing all of our stakeholders thrive in order for business to endure over time. So our four areas of citizenship, as you can see, are community impact, environmental sustainability, equality and inclusion, and being an employer of choice are a great place to work for our employees. Why these? First, when we have thriving communities, this is just overall better for P&G. And the prior two speakers have spoken about it, have spoken about the pandemic extensively, so I won't belabor that. Second, in healthy environments, these are critical to our supply and our business and to our communities. So to grow our business sustainably, we must also operate sustainably in a way that is also good for the environment that we all live in. The third is when we promote equality and inclusion, we do this externally and internally to our 2,000 employees locally, but to our hundreds of thousands of employees globally. This promotes a more diverse environment where we can foster different points of view in a productive way, because this is reflective of the real world, of the lives of our consumers, right? We're not all Filipinos, we're not all parents, we're not all singles. So being able to foster equality and inclusion also enables environments where everybody can succeed and has an equal chance or opportunity to do so. The fourth is when we create a great place to work for our employees through our different programs and policies and benefits. We're able to do good for our own people, who then in turn give us the best they can give in terms of performance and inspired work, which then in turn helps our business grow. So it's a very, you give also, but you also get back. To quote our CEO, who has expressly declared this as a priority, we want to be a force for good and a force for growth. We know that the more we integrate and build citizenship into how we do our business, the bigger the impact we can have on the people we serve, the communities we live in, and the broader world that surrounds us. And this in turn helps us grow and build our business. So we believe that when we do good, this contributes positively to our consumers, our shoppers, our employees, our communities, the country, the environment, and we just create a healthier environment for growth for all. So this is good for the country and good for the brands. Now, allow me to share with you how we've stepped up during the COVID-19 and post-ECQ period as well. Every action that P&G has taken has been guided by three core principles and priorities. The first, and I think Norman referred to this earlier, is protecting the health and well-being of our people, our P&G employees, and of course, partners that help us bring our business to life. This has been number one priority because without our people being healthy and being good and safe, it is very hard to bring our business and our brands to life, and even harder to support frontliners in the communities that we are also trying to support during this time. Number two, and I think Aja has actually discussed this very well in the Robinson section, is being able to continue to serve the needs of our consumers and the shoppers and our customers. Being able to just operate and continue on with our brands is a good in itself, right? And then the third is to provide support to frontliners. We've picked as a special focus area, support the frontliners, and then to the communities and the cities that we operate in. I won't be talking extensively about number one and number two, but it's a point of pride just to say that P&G during this time has actually had 100% pay continuance, and we've continued hiring. We've continued creating jobs. So I believe we have over 400 new hires since March until now. And that in itself is, for us at least, a very fundamental way to contribute to doing good, ensuring job continuity, security, and job creation. And we're also proud to say that we didn't retrench anybody during this period. That's a fundamental good in business operations, and being able to just operate the plant and serve our customers and serve our consumers is super core to our mission and our purpose. Now, today, I'd just like to share two programs under the area of community impact that we've invested in over the past 6 months of the quarantine. This doesn't include the Pag-asa sa Basura environmental sustainability program that we've partnered with World Vision and over the past year, but that in itself we are very proud of. This is actually our program called Safeguarding the Frontliners, which we did starting in March. We immediately triggered our COVID-19 response over March to April, and we continued it on until the months after that, where we used our brands, our manufacturing, and our marketing expertise to try to do good and to help our stakeholders. The first area is, of course, our brands are essential health and hygiene goods, and we were very cognizant of the needs of our frontliners, of our health centers, of our hospitals. They were actually a little in a surge during the early parts of the pandemic, right? And so we fully recognize frontliners couldn't go home. Hospital operations were a little bit strained. They needed the essential goods or the health and hygiene products that we provide on a daily basis. So we made sure to be able to provide millions of these to 15,000 frontliners in 50 COVID-19 hospitals in 17 cities. And it was, it sounds simple when we paced it there, but it was quite a task because over the ECQ, as you know, there were challenges in terms of transport and operations just on core business alone. So being able to do this is something that we knew was much needed, and we would try to find a way to get it done no matter what, right? In terms of manufacturing, soon after the ECQ started, we made a very speedy decision to repurpose our manufacturing plant in Cabuyao to produce medical grade face masks. This is because we had manufacturing technical expertise in the area of non-woven goods because of Pampers and Whisper, which are very strong P&G brands, and they are manufactured here in the Philippines. So we tried to repurpose our operations and got it up and running, the face mask line, in 6 to 9 weeks from the moment we decided we would do this until we started the operations here in market, instead of the usual 6 to 9 months that it takes to actually start up a new manufacturing line. And before the face masks even got mandated, so there is currently a mandatory guideline that we must wear face masks in public, right? But even before that, because we knew that these were in short supply, we already pledged to donate 1 million face masks to frontliners via the DOH, the Red Cross, the LGUs at the time. And now, it is 6 months after that, we've actually doubled that initial commitment, and we're continuing to do our mask donation and turnover operations just day in and day out. Sometimes you'll hear about it in the news, but sometimes we just go and donate even without news behind it, right? So that's how we use our manufacturing expertise to help. Now, how did we use our marketing expertise? We always believe that brands, especially when you're a big brand or a leader brand, you have the biggest megaphones in the country to spread messages of good, but you also have the power to do otherwise, right? Of course, we choose to use our brands as megaphones of good messages. So to support our Safeguarding the Frontliners initiative, we actually created very early on in the ECQ a Frontliners tribute video. It's a 2-minute video which I'll share with you now, just to share a positive message of solidarity and support. We understand what they were going through, and just being able to share that and spread that to the nation without any intent to sell. So this is a little bit of an odd spot, because when we play it in the next slide, you will see 0 P&G brands in this spot. But I think it was well appreciated and received during the time. It received 1 million organic views in the first 48 hours. We did not boost it, we did not spend it, we just put it out there. And then the second example of how we used our brand's marketing expertise is Safeguard naman also produced parang a Force for Good message video on Bayanihan. Magsama-sama tayo to help during this difficult time. Let's all lean in together. And the proceeds from this program, actually below the line, were donated to the Red Cross. So let me share those videos with you now so you can take a look at them. We'll start with Frontliners.
Hello? Nak? Sorry ngayon lang nakatawag si Mama. Kamusta ka na? Medyo busy lang kami. Kakakain lang ni Mama. Buffet nga Pag uwi ko, promise, ipagluluto kita ng paborito mo. Oh, huwag sobrang likod. Hugas ng kamay lagi. Kailangan malinis bago matulog, Oh, sige na anak. Tulog na. Pray ka kay Papa Jesus. Konting tulog na lang, anak. Makakauwi rin si Mama. I love you. Good night, anak. Miss na kita. May bisita ako sa linggo. Kahit sandali lang. Abangan mo ko, ha?
Isigaw mo sa hangin, tumindig at magsilbing liwanag, liwanag sa dilim. Harapin mo magiting ang bagong awitin. Ikaw ang liwanag sa dilim. Isigaw mo sa hangin, tumindig at magsilbing liwanag, liwanag sa dilim. Isigaw mo sa hangin, tumindig at magsilbing liwanag, liwanag sa dilim. Harapin mo magiting ang bagong awitin. Ikaw ang liwanag sa dilim.
I'm very, very proud to share those pieces of marketing work from P&G. I think what's very touching about this is the balance of knowing when do you actually share your brand message and when is it the time to really just stand as one with the country. I know I saw some messages that some people teared up. Ako po, every time, at lalo nung dinidevelop yon at pinapakita sa amin palang internally, parati ako naluluha, even now to see it, because saludo po kami sa mga frontliners who are just at the front lines of this pandemic, and we stand as one with them in whatever way we can, diba? So this was such a proud moment for us to be able to share with frontliners, because I think we released this during Labor Day, over the months of April and May, and sila talaga yung totoong bayani and sila yung totoong nag-labor. And they still are, even to this date. We probably don't see it right now, but they still are. So part of this is we reap the benefits rin naman, whether intentionally or not intentionally. This one is a nice picture of during those times when you actually have something good to say and you say it with the good intent at its core. We were able to gain a superior share of voice on a corporate level because of these efforts over March, April, May, and June. We won't dwell in this slide more, but suffice it to say we had more than our fair share or half the pie in terms of companies that were speaking out and really speaking good things over the time. So we didn't name who our peers and competitors are there. So that's one example of the early work that we did over March to June using the core expertise that our company had. And I think I didn't put it on any slide as they are business results, but of course, P&G also experienced positive sales and business growth during those times. So I think that is one strong example of doing good, but also being a force for good and being a force for growth, right? So that's my first example. The secret that we don't share very much externally is in the frontliners video. We actually did that also to support the directors, the filmmakers, and even the frontliners themselves during that time, because the cost or the amount that we paid to produce that video, we all gave to the people involved in making that video, and even the production team, they also gave their own parang talent fee to the frontliners who provided all of that raw footage from their daily in and out experiences at the hospitals. So that's sort of parang even to the, as Angela was saying earlier, even the how you get it done, you're thinking about how to do it in the best and right way possible for all involved. The second campaign we'd like to share is something more recent. It actually launched in, I believe, the end of July to August. It's the Be the Solution sa COVID-19 partnership that we have with the DOH, the Department of Health. So the DOH has the Be the Solution sa COVID-19 campaign, but they also needed support from private companies to create massive awareness and a higher engagement for the existing Be the Solution campaign, which showed in Alden Richards. P&G, where we come in is we used our expertise, again, in marketing, media, and advertising to also promote our long-time advocacy to promote proper and personal home and hygiene. So even before this pandemic, we had already been investing in promoting hand washing, bathing regularly, toothbrushing regularly, so proper home and health hygiene, right? Now, we merged and we partnered together with the big idea of maging bida sa bahay. So it's a public-private partnership of P&G with the Department of Health to promote the right home and hygiene practices. So in bida solution, B means bawal walang mask. And so we even produced masks, right? We focus on the I, which is isanitize ang mga kamay and mga bahay. D is actually dumistansya ng isang metro, and A is alamin ang totoo. So don't be a victim of fake news. Help spread good, authoritative, legitimate information out there. There's enough fake news to go around, right? For P&G, we partnered with the Department of Health and focused on the I. And we launched an integrated marketing campaign on the isanitize ang kamay at mga bahay. So the DOH had, as you can see on the screen, there are 4 habits that they wanted to promote. Frequently wash hands for 20 seconds and do it in the proper way. Wash your clothes out. When you come from outside, wash your clothes immediately so that you already try to promote a cleaner environment at home. Practice proper kitchen hygiene as you enjoy your meals at home, and then bathe upon getting home so that you already try to protect your family from the parang germs or the viruses that are coming in from the outside. P&G incidentally had the health and hygiene brands to help in the practice of these hygiene habits. So we applied the marketing and media expertise of Safeguard, Ariel, Join, Head and Shoulders to be able to promote this. Okay, so how did we do it? This is the sort of ecosystem that we did for the DOH to engage, educate, and empower. So above the line, we had a partnership launch. We had a Bida sa Bahay song and music video. So we're very good at music marketing. And then we had Bida sa Bahay infomercials that also parang delved into the practices a little bit more. Below the line, what we call below the line or in-store and in-community, we also created hygiene solution centers in the supermarkets of our partner customers, and even extended it to sari-sari stores, which was not in the original plan, but we're glad that we have been able to do so. And then we also distributed 70,000 Bida family home kits to the most vulnerable families nationwide with the help of USAID to identify them and to distribute it, and the DOH, of course. So these things we felt above the line, we were able to educate using our media expertise and our marketing expertise. We were able to engage people to hear the message. And as you'll see, the music marketing video is a little bit different in tonality versus the very anthemic and admittedly tearjerker videos from the prior months. We'll air that in a few minutes. But below the line, we didn't want to stop at just marketing and educating. We wanted to empower. So that's why in communities, we made sure that the families had half a month's worth of health and hygiene supplies so that when they see these things above the line, they can practice it in their own homes. But when they also go to shop, understanding that shoppers right now are trying to find the best solutions, the easiest and fastest way to shop and navigate in the stores, being able to provide a one-stop shop hygiene solution center in our partner supermarkets helps shoppers shop much easier in a parang a less stressful way, and also helps minimize the queue of shoppers waiting outside if the store is small and social distancing needs to be practiced, right? So then you encourage a quicker flow into the business of the supermarkets for the shoppers. So we're proud that one of our partners is on the panel here with us. So Robinsons is also going to be, I believe, transforming the end caps of the shelves to become Bida Hygiene Solution Centers. So that's the power of when everybody leans in together with the expertise that they have, with the intent of doing good and promoting growth for all stakeholders. Okay, so we'll move on, and I will share with you now the music marketing video. I hope you enjoy it. It's not a tearjerker.
Para safe ang pamilya, dapat sa bahay sanitation ang bida. Maging bida solusyon sa COVID-19. ay bawal yakap at kiss. Maligo-ligo muna from head and shoulders to feet. At ang damit na yung ginamit. Detergent with bleach dapat para ang germs di kumapit sa kids. Maging malinis-linis araw-araw para safe si lolo, lola, ate, kuya. Maging malinis-linis araw-araw para you can be the solution. Sa kusina ay hugasan agad ang mga plato. Mas joyful ang salo-salo. Sa mga bagay iwas hawak para iwas hawa. Buong kamay ay hugasan mo na. Walang mask. I-sanitize ang kamay. Dumistansya isang metro. Alamin ang totoo. Maging malinis-linis araw-araw para sa buong pamilya, ako, ikaw. Maging malinis-linis araw-araw para you can be the solution. I-sanitize ang katawan at buong bahay para you can be the solution. Simulan sa bahay. Maging malinis, 'cause together we can all be the solution. Be the solution.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed that. Ang test ko po dyan is my 3-year-old son. Nung pinakita ko po sa kanya, pinatugtog po sa akin 3 times over until sinabi ko tama na. So I hope that this is something that will result in a nation of bidas. At least that is our goal when we try to support this campaign with the DOH, to help create and foster a nation of bidas, people who are empowered to take action. I know that people can feel helpless at home or hopeless, but we're trying to promote a more positive message and a more you can control what happens to you message. Be empowered to take action. So we wanted to be a force for good and we force for growth at the same time. So here's some results of that partnership. The video itself earned quite the record amount of views, as well as record view-through rate. So view-through rate would be if you can watch the whole video, right? So these are just some of the metrics. So good earned PR value, good views, good record view-through rate, cost per view is at a good price. We also got an increase in patronage in terms of sales and shares. So I can't post that here right now, but suffice it to say that it did result in a share as well as sales growth for P&G for the brands that participated. And then it really was a contribution to promote behavior change in the country. So apart from helping the 70,000 families, we were able to reach nationwide to 36 cities. And it is good news to us to hear that the DOH will hand this over to the DepEd, who will integrate that song into the Bida sa Bahay music video, into the blended learning activities that the DepEd is planning for the out months. So we're very, very proud of this. And this isn't where it stops. So we are obviously also supporting other programs, which I'm not showing here, such as BPI Safe Stores and the recently launched Ingat Angat campaign, which Aja just showed earlier. We're also a part of that. So what would I like you to take away as I close is that the first is be a force for good and a force for growth in the way that you can do it. It is an imperative for companies to do good because it's good for business. It really is. In P&G, we believe that you have to start from your core purpose and core mission. So if you're not sure how to start, if you are in a difficult spot, the answer isn't, oh, let's just donate money kaagad. Try to see what your core purpose and mission is. What your core operations and assets and employment of your business and your brands are. Because it's better that you start from a place of expertise rather than an off-tangent aspect or just simply, okay, dole out money. Because, as Aja showed earlier and as Norman mentioned earlier, supporting employment and serving and supplying your core audience, especially in these unprecedented times, that in itself is doing good. You don't have to start with, oh, I'll donate money or I'll construct something or something out of your wheelhouse. Just keeping the employees that you create jobs for employed, keeping your business open and supporting your business, it costs money. And that in itself is doing good, right? It will be easier to do the citizenship work that you yourselves are experts in. And it will also eventually create a differentiation and higher recall for your brand equity. The second is it is critical to invest in doing good and doing brand building and citizenship programs, even when there's no crisis. So with or without crisis, in the good times and in the bad times, see the results of these programs and partnerships and relationships will buoy you, your brands, your businesses, especially during the bad times. So Norman mentioned earlier, Safeguard. For Safeguard, we are the #1 top of mind brand for hygiene, especially for soap, because even in the good times, even pre-pandemic, just year round, we promote health, hygiene, and hand washing and bathing in different communities and cities and LGUs and schools. And we build sinks and hand washing facilities, right? We partner with LGUs, DOH, DepEd, Manila Water, etc. So when the pandemic hit, it was also natural that we were also the top of mind brand for soap and bathing to safeguard the nation in the pandemic. Now, it is also critical, if you can do it, if you are in a fortunate position enough to do it, to invest in doing good, even when there is a crisis, even in the bad times, based on the fundamental belief that A, it's the right thing to do, because B, we are able to help others grow, our stakeholders, our communities, and it will also help business grow back, right? So we need to lean forward and support each other. And the third is, again, if you are in a fortunate position to be able to contribute something during the crisis, when the crisis is over, you will come out the stronger for it in the minds of your stakeholders. They will see your brands, your businesses as something that is enduring, something that is resilient, something that isn't just a fair-weathered partner or a fair-weathered friend. We've seen this for P&G. We've come out through world wars, recessions, and now a global pandemic. People will really remember you as someone that is there in the good times and in the tough times, and they will give you that support and that preference even in the bad times. So I think this is the end of my presentation, and I'm very, very happy to be on this panel with Aja and with Norman, and happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Miss Anna. Thank you for all those videos as well that you provided and such informative presentation that you shared with us. And if there's anything I can take away from that, it's if we can, then we should be able to help, right? So now we will introduce our panel discussion, and we will introduce our moderator for the discussion. So Ms. Annette Lim pens a weekly column for ABS-CBN News and uses her digital platform to champion financial inclusion, women empowerment, and microphilanthropy. She joined the board of World Vision Philippines in 2020 and serves as trustee with nonprofits Child Hope Philippines and Kabalikat para sa Maunlad na Buhay. She has over 20 years of experience in stakeholder relations from her stints across the private, public, and civic sectors. Once again, we would like to call back our 4 speakers. Please turn on your videos and your mic. Please unmute them, and we will have an engaging discussion together. Take it away, Ms. Annette.
Okay, thank you so much, Laika. I want to thank all our speakers, for Norman, for Aja, and Anna. They had well-researched and detailed presentations. You just have to call me biased, but I especially enjoyed Aja's with all her references to World Vision and the partnership that we hope to continue in the future. But altogether, all 3, they give us hope that we can definitely beat this pandemic. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so I was told I can only have 1 question for everybody. So this is my question for all. Among stakeholder relations practitioners, it's a sad fact of life that CSR budgets are one of the first to get cut when times are tough. But these tough times are unprecedented. Is it safe to say, especially with all that you had shared, that CSR budgets will actually grow, especially in the age of the ethical customer? Norman, maybe you want to take a first crack at this?
Yes, I'd like to recognized research that was done by Fast Forward MR. They did this. They published their results, I think, in May, where they interviewed over 100 chief marketing officers in the Philippines and asked the question, will your budgets for the year change? They identified certain marketing activities and asked which parts of their budget might be sacrificed or which might grow as a result of the pandemic. Number one change was for digital and social media. So chief marketing officers said that 60 to 62% of them said that their budgets for social media and digital will increase. What was next after that? Guess what? CSR and advocacies. 50% of them said that they were inclined to increase their budgets and appropriate that for CSR. 50% is still 50%. I think there is a momentum, and that was still in May. Probably that could have increased by now, but certainly people are recognizing the fact that there is a need to help out, and now is a perfect time for that.
Thank you, Norman. Can we hear from Aja next?
Okay. I couldn't be sure if our budget will do increase for CSR, but what I am sure is that we will evaluate all of our processes and policies and see where we can further create sustainable actions, and also without spending too much, because we still have to look at our bottom line and see where we can review where can we improve on, without doling out, or how can we involve our employees, or how can we involve our frontliners, or how can we involve our consumers to do more without, I don't think money is the answer to all of our creating change. I think it's an individual decision as well as the direction of the company to see where we can effectively create change given the limitations that we might have. For us in a supermarket, how are we functioning? For us, we didn't have to create new programs. We didn't have to create a new event. We had to just work with the basic of when customers go inside the store, how can we assure them that we can continue to provide them the best products, work with local suppliers more, so that wouldn't cost too much, but it will also maybe encourage sales still without costing money. But I recognize also the role of digital and investing on it in making processes more efficient and effective for everyone. So there might be an increase in certain aspects. Well, for us, since digital is sort of a lot of that will go into marketing. Syempre, masaya kami pag maganda yung budget. But it really boils down to really going back, reviewing our processes and see where we can further improve and where we can create change that everyone will enjoy, that our consumers will also appreciate.
Thank you, Aja. Actually, I'm a loyal customer, but I have not been to Robinsons, and I think digital is the way, because now I go to Go Robinsons all the time. So, Anna, to you, we want to see more coming out of your megaphone for good. How do you address this question?
Yes, so I think it's a little similar to how Norman and Aja have answered. I think one way we look at it is we don't look at it as, a separate CSR budget. And I'd actually also encourage companies and brands, big and small, to try to also see it that way. Try to see how you can build or bake into your business and operations doing good versus, I'll set aside a certain percent for CSR budget. And then people will tend to look at it, as pang charity lang yan, which is not the case, right? And I think the other trend that people are rarely speaking about or people don't see is that businesses, I'm sure Robinsons included, Aja, are incurring a different set of costs operating in this new environment because they need to keep their people safe, they need to change the way they operate, develop new things, change their marketing budgets. So it's not necessarily a guarantee that CSR budgets will skyrocket now because it's the time of COVID, not at all. So how businesses are adjusting, because there are a brewing amount of operational costs also being incurred, is try to bake into your operations the good that you can do. So the examples I gave sort of alluded to that because those are coming out of the base brand or marketing budgets that we have for the different brands. It wasn't, okay, I'll set aside a couple million CSR pesos and use that. Not at all. The partnerships that we're doing with our supermarket partners, such as Robinsons, that's not something, oh, we'll set aside a certain amount. We bake it into the way we operate so that everything is in a healthy state, right? You don't over carve out a CSR budget to the detriment of your operational costs and operational profits.
Okay, thank you, Anna. And Norman gave us a welcome trend. And then from Anna and Aja, we heard about strategies on how to be able to actually make your program sustainable. Right now we are all living behind face masks and face shields. No one has been immune from the devastating effects of the coronavirus. It has kept us locked inside our homes, fearing our job security, our wallets taking a hit, not to mention the toll on our health, both physical and mental. But the trends presented this afternoon by our speakers remind us that doing good never goes out of style, and doing good is good for the brand, and ultimately, the consumer wins. Thank you again, Norman, Aja, and Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Miss Annette, for moderating that panel discussion. And we will have another set of panelists and another set of speakers this afternoon. So thank you once again for our first set of panelists this afternoon for sharing your time and knowledge on these subjects. Now, for the second part of this afternoon, we are going to talk about how doing good is good for their employees. And our first speaker for this topic is a seasoned HRMD executive with over 4 decades of professional experience on organizational change, strategic human resource, planning and acquisition, organization development, employee engagement, labor relations, and leadership development. She optimized internal processes by enabling human capital engagement and managed mergers and acquisition with people-centric orientation. She is also a staunch advocate of people development through the PMAP or PMAP Awards program, an annual search for exemplary performance of companies and people managers in the area of sound people management. Currently, she is the president of the People Management Association of the Philippines and a decades-long member of the Labor Policy Reforms and Industrial Relations Committee. Please welcome Ms. Luisa Mila or Loy V. Echevarria.
Thank you very much, World Vision, for inviting PMAP to be with you in this summit. Ani sa bayanihan, realizing potentials through collaboration amid uncertainty. We have witnessed each other toil through dire changes, if not a couple of meters away physically. Then, by how far each of us are from the screen of our devices. A pleasant afternoon to all our dear guests, friends, colleagues, and partners. It is a pleasure to speak before you, as this is an opportunity to honor the strength of our constituents and the compassion of our fellow people managers as they dealt with the blows of the pandemic. For nearly a year now, workers and businesses had to contend not only with the strains that came with several layoffs, but also with societal infirmities which were previously regarded only in passing, but has been exacerbated by the pandemic. Aggravation of these issues like access to basic necessities, experience of abuse, and apathy towards the implication of these challenges threatens the fabric that weaves our community together and might have thrown us into social unrest. It was the bayanihan spirit among stakeholders that preserved that order. For it is only through the presence of such and the maintenance of our moral compass that the members of the community continue to exist, act, and operate. Whole month of February before the lockdowns, we were so busy preparing the much needed masks, clothes, food, medicines, water, school supplies, and other needed materials by the victims of the Al volcano eruption. This was initiated and implemented by our employees with full support from management and some generous individuals and corporate members. Their participation in these volunteer activities is with gladness, which is good for their emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Nonetheless, how was this possible, given the limitation and the resources to which the aforementioned were dependent on? Addressing the question above requires us to mull over previous norms in the workplace and our present struggle to appreciate better the learning opportunities that were reconstructed from the crisis. How we responded to the challenges that we encountered within the company reflects our approach towards the conceptualization of our corporate social responsibility initiatives. As the saying goes, generosity must start from home. Despite the limitations brought about by the current health crisis, we at PMAP has remained steadfast in providing timely needed programs and services to our members and the HR community. The values that were inculcated among our employees through their degree and manner of involvement in both reinforces their empathy towards peers, their proactiveness in improving work processes, and identification with the company and the community with regard to current affairs. It is towards this goal that PMAP took the following steps forward: maintaining transparency with our employees on the association's financial and operations concern, manage expectations on what is to come, along with the priority action areas. Sensitivity and awareness towards the following were also put in place: significance of business recalibration and contribution made by everyone with the newly formed job roles, the importance of the association relative to the needs of the Filipino community, notwithstanding the limitation on its resources, our partners and networks as our support wheels that will allow us to move forward, and the necessity to abandon complacency in pursuit of proactiveness on the matters that concern the preservation of their own and their peers' dignity, rights, and safety. Second to awareness is the acknowledgement of the employees' struggles. The aggregate of their individual experiences creates a space for sharing and conceptualization of constructive interventions. CSR activities that has personal, local, and global relevance drives enthusiasm and higher commitment towards the initiative itself. A company member shared that when Employees were engaged. They welcomed such activities, even with a full load of work, and were humbled by the realization of the significance of their contribution. Aside from enhancing the work and people skills of the employees, it gives a positive impact on the organization. They serve as brand ambassadors of the company. This consideration also fosters consciousness of enduring social issues like destitution in low-income communities due to their limited access to basic needs, insufficient resources for those in the healthcare industry, and other more. And previously, disregarded challenges but were made salient by the anxieties of the public due to the uncertainties imposed by the pandemic, like discrimination against healthcare workers. Finally, consistent communication maintains the existence of these spaces. Constraints on physical proximity, alongside the toxicity of the virtual world through challenges experienced in the social media, like fake news, cybercrimes, and many more, are taking their toll on the employees' mental well-being. With deep commitment, dedication to serve and dynamism of our employees, PMAP was able to provide free webinars on topics needed by our members and continuously operates our HR help desk to accommodate general queries to help them handle some of their challenges. Keeping the sense of purpose from fraying further necessitates the continual exercise of the values that are the cornerstone of our shared identity. An enterprise CSR undertaking provides the perfect venue for this. CSR initiatives this year were marked by collaboration. In comparison to that of the last 5 decades, which lean towards donation, organization, involvement, institutionalization, and engagement, respectively. Companies, including ours, work with partners at large in order to streamline the delivery of our services to them to serve their purpose, and that they remain relevant to the immediate needs of the recipient. Volunteerism played a large part in the end-to-end distribution of both physical and intangible goods, like documentation of needs, connecting recipients to donors. Partners played to their strengths, making the most of the resources that they have, and this includes their talent skills. It is worth noting that despite the risk that the setting presented, these companies' constituents volunteered to perform the services that the companies hope to achieve. This is especially observed among industries whose operations are vital in keeping the community, ergo, the economy running, like transportation providers, energy providers, food providers, and many more. There are also those that had to stand their ground on their activity due to classes with the noses of the law. Needless to say, the flexibility and support afforded by the public sector complemented the capacity of the private sector, resulting to well-directed actions to beneficiaries within and outside of the organization. Indeed, we have reached several milestones that we were hesitant to take on before, steps that we never even considered taking. The circumstances that we still are facing now may have forced us to leap, but such is a leap of faith that only proved our grit and our will to keep each other standing. The test is far from over. We will persist and will go about our roles with purpose. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Padayon.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Loy, for that speech. And we know we will be talking more about that in our questions later in our panel discussion. So we would proceed to our next speaker. So our next speaker is Miss Pamela Donato. Miss Pam is the HR lead for Conduent Philippines and Malaysia and the CSR and sustainability sponsor. She has 25 years of progressive experience in HR and organizational development. The last 10 years have been in the BPO industry. Ms. Pam is also currently serving as an officer of the Contact Center Association of the Philippines, or CCAP HR Council. Let us hear it from Ms. Pam Donato.
All right, thank you so much for that introduction, Laika. Good afternoon to you and to all of our viewers. All right, it is a privilege to be here today and to be able to share with all of you our story of making a positive impact to our community and the organization through our CSR programs. According to Gallup, today's workforce is on the lookout for companies that provide means and avenues to practice their passion as well as their purpose, find their purpose, and instead of merely receiving a paycheck. With this in mind, we have designed our CSR campaign and we called it I Can. I Can is built around the concept of fostering our employees' sense of engagement as well as commitment to a cause. The three advocacies that we support are environment, education, and women and children. So let me share with you more about these three advocacies. First off is environment, and we have chosen two issues that are plaguing the environment: plastic pollution as well as the ever-increasing carbon footprint. And according to the studies, the Philippines is the third largest contributor of plastic waste that leak into our ocean. And that's certainly a title that we don't want. To help towards reduction of plastic waste, we launched our Race to Reduce Plastic Use campaign to raise awareness amongst our associates. We partnered with EcoBrick Philippines to help us conduct workshops so that we can create EcoBricks also. And through these workshops, our employees gained awareness as well as how to make quality eco bricks, and we have donated this in turn to local communities so that they can, have sustainable construction materials. We continue to encourage our associates to promote and to support this race to reduce plastic use, even merging it with our engagement activities like our fund run, as you can see there. And we have asked them to bring their tumblers, reusable tumblers, instead of plastic bottles. So in the area of reducing carbon footprint, we have worked with Haribon Foundation in a tree planting project. As a group of more than 100 associates, they trek, and I emphasize they, for I can't join them anymore, because they trekked for 3 hours and planted over 1,000 trees in Mount Banahaw and Barangay Adlawan areas. Aside from being a long-term and sustainable solution to lessening the carbon footprint, tree planting is also a good way to promote biodiversity, as well as stimulating the livelihood of our locals who depend on the forest to support their families. The second advocacy is commitment to quality education. It has always been one of our top priorities and a favorite among our associates. In line with this, we work closely with our Pasay City East High School in Pasay and APAS National High School in Cebu. These are public high schools that are situated in the communities we work in. And many of these students are, are so eager to acquire additional skills. And we'll talk more about them, but later on. But through our Happiness Academy, we provide them lifelong skills that they can use after high school as they search for jobs, often in lieu of a college education. So aside from that, we also support the Brigada Escuela, as most of our brothers in the BPO space is concerned. Brigada Escuela is a DepEd initiative, and it consists of teachers, parents, NGOs, as well as private companies like us, aiming to prepare public school buildings and the school grounds for the resumption of classes. We started this in 2018 with World Vision, and we did this in Pasay as well as in Cebu. And in 2019, or last year, about 150 of our associates, aside from, did their bit in the schools, selected partner schools, and we created gardens, painted, cleaned, and more than that, we also donated school supplies. We also donated computers, modular offices to teachers of a science high school, and we also donated other office supplies and other furniture, like those huge filing cabinets. And this year, in 2020, prior to COVID-19 pandemic, we also helped our partner schools. But during the pandemic, and its resulting quarantine protocols, doing Brigada Escuela has been very difficult and tough to implement. And so what we have decided to do is to donate resources to our partner schools so that they can continue providing online education, or at least support teachers during or who are doing modular classes. So we have donated more than 80 computers and 20 network servers to Technological University of the Philippines, or TUP, as well as to our partner schools, Pasay City Science High School and Pasay City East High School. For our third advocacy, which is women and children, we would like to empower the women and the youth. We have several programs done in partnership with Marilac Hills. It's a rehabilitation center for girls and young or teenage women who are victims of sexual exploitation or abuse, and for some, they are in conflict with law. We try to help these girls through the programs that we do, and we look beyond and to help them also through the Happiness Academy that I mentioned earlier, to look beyond their experiences and still build dreams. These are stories that really want us to have happy endings for these young girls. And we opened 2020 by donating 300 plus grocery baskets to Marilac Hills, and which is also the adopted beneficiary of one of our EIGs. And the baskets were for the residents and also the staff and teachers, because they have their own school inside the compound. We have also empowered over 200 of the girls in the Marilac Hills through our Happiness Academy, as I mentioned. It's a program that teaches them valuable life skills like resume writing, how to manage interviews, because they do have to find work after they leave Marilac Hills. Another added benefit of the Happiness Academy is the inclusion of personality development programs, as well as vision board making and gratitude jars. These are ways to support, positive psychology, to help kids build dreams, develop resilience, and have a healthier mindset. In March, fortunately, before the lockdown was announced, we were able to celebrate International Women's Month. And we also created a science camp for our partner Marilac Hills, where we empowered girls to develop, that passion for science and technology through fun experiments and also cupcake making. So we invited the wife of one of our senior leaders to help us with that. And during this month, we also raised funds. Our employees, not the company, but the employees raised funds for Marilac, and we sold the girls' products of handmade quality quality rugs as well as pot holders. So, in response to the new normal, okay, how do we innovate CSR? In Conduent, in our small way, what we have done is that we have created our engagement passport. 75% of our, about 70 to 75% of our team members right now are working from home. So how do you engage them, right? And include them still in the CSR. So we have launched our engagement passport, wherein associates have a checklist of items that they have to accomplish or take off. And some of the items on the checklist or in the boxes are about acts of kindness or acts of generosity. Employees who have accomplished this challenge cross it off of their engagement passport and upload their learnings as well as their experiences in our Yammer group. This program is gamified and counts towards their volunteer hours. It is truly great, to see how our associates take control of their own philanthropy as they look ways to help others. As Norman said earlier, this is really the best time to help others in our communities, even while they work from home. We even have a group of nurses because we have a healthcare unit in Cebu, and they have donated from their own funds headphones to the Department of Health's contact call center. And I think that's a great effort on their part. Now, through all these efforts and other initiatives, we have reached or hit some milestones. In 2018, we generated 12,000 volunteer hours when our target was only 2,000 because that was our first year for our CSR. And in 2019, we were targeting 12,000 volunteer hours and we attained 13,000 hours by just the middle of the year. So it was a great year for all of us. And I think that, even this year, even with the pandemic, when it is so difficult to move and to gather people, it's next to impossible. We have already exceeded 500 volunteer hours, which is an accomplishment in and of itself, considering the restrictions brought about by the quarantine. I believe that this spirit of volunteerism is what helped us to clinch to be part of the Circle of Excellence Award for CSR of the Year from the Asia CEO in 2019. This win has been celebrated by our team members because they know that they were part of it. And recently, one of our partner schools, the Pasay City East High School, also awarded us with the Gawad Pagkandili Stakeholders Award. So how did we do it? Okay, it was not an easy task, but let me humbly share with you the steps we took to ensure that we delivered for the sake of our beneficiaries. To provide a bit of a background, Conduent is a divestiture of Xerox, and we started in January 2017. I joined the organization in October of that same year. And so most of our programs, including sustainability, were only able to get their start in 2018. We also have a very small talent management team. We only have 2 members in the engagement function, but the team is not short of visions, and these are visions that we all want to realize. As a means of realizing our goals, we created our engagement network, consisting of engagement volunteers who help us do all the different tasks that go into preparing for an engagement activity or a CSR program. We also have our engagement champions who represent the myriad of business accounts and support functions that we have. Every time there's an activity, we all call them together for an enabling session. Aside from our engagement network, we also have our employee impact groups or EIGs. We have three in the Conduent Philippines. We have the Women Impact Network or WIN. We have also the SOGI, which is the Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification and Expression, which is our LGBTQ plus group. And third is our Disability Impact group. Through this EIGs, we are able to achieve programs and goals that are unique to this and unique and aligned with their interests. Each of these EIGs also have their own CSR programs. Like the SOGI has adopted the Home of the Golden Gaze. It's a nonprofit group catering to the needs of senior members of the LGBTQ plus community. And they do a donation program with them. So why employee participation is important? I mean, we all agree it is, right? We value our employees' role and personal stake in the planning and execution of engagement programs, including CSR activities. This is key to our employee engagement and retention strategy because their involvement develops leadership skills, widens their internal network, and increases their creativity and innovation. Fosters also interactions with the country and global leaders who join the activities, and it gives employees that sense of pride in the company that they work in and with what they do for the organization. This way, our employees also experience personal growth and fulfillment as one of the greatest benefits of their volunteer work. How do we convince our employees to participate? I would like to share some of the things we have picked up, lessons, if you want to call them that, in our journey. First is engage leaders. We believe in leader-led initiatives. It's important that leaders serve as examples in order to motivate and inspire their team members. In our company, teachers are always present in CSR activities, and we all take an active role in promoting them. Second is listen. Always take into consideration the causes that our employees or your employees stand for, the interests that they are passionate about, like what our EIGs do, and the skills that they can offer for us. So sometimes we have crowdsourcing activities, like, who would like to do design programs for the Happiness Academy, stuff like that. And that is one of the reasons we have the engagement network as well as the EIGs to help them voice out their thoughts and their ideals. Third is turn every experience into a learning experience. This has been mentioned by other speakers, especially Loy. And CSR programs are great opportunities not only to make the world a better place, but it's also to help your associates become better personally. Because what we believe in Conduent is that we should be able to bring our best selves to the workplace every day. And we can only do that if there's that authenticity and learning can come from all of the activities that we do, even from the eco brick making activity or workshop, or from the creation of vision board sessions. Lastly, celebrate wins. Recognizing your employees' achievements, big or small, will make them feel proud of the organization that they're in. Even when we won the Circle of Excellence Award from CEO Asia, Asia CEO Award, sorry, even just giving them a small orange, just to celebrate it, they know it signified all the efforts that they did. And also, we help them celebrate it by announcing the success of their volunteering in social media, and by sharing with them all of the testimonials and words of support coming from beneficiaries and stakeholders. In closing, I hope that I was able to impart some meaningful insights from our CSR journey and the implementation of our engagement programs. Doing good, I believe, really makes good business. It helps the community, it helps the associates or employees, and we see this in the form of a more engaged workforce and ever increasing retention, which is very important in the industry that we are in. The current challenges that we are facing might make volunteerism more difficult than before. As Norman said, we have to find other ways to measure our success. It can't be just the volunteer hours. And but even in the engagement passport, we are seeing that whatever we sowed in the last 2 years are taking are generating are taking roots and then generating some fruits. This means that we have done well, but we cannot yet pat our backs in our backs because there is still a lot of work to do. And as leaders, we need to do more because our employees and our communities need more today, more than ever, I would think. And by working together, I am sure that we will be able to innovate and create more ways of making an even greater impact to all the stakeholders. Good afternoon to all of you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pam, for shedding some light on what you do in your project. So thank you, Ms. Loy and Ms. Pam. And now we are down to our last speaker for the session. And this session, we have with us HR Country Head of Willis Towers Watson, which include the function of Regional Service Delivery for AP. She has held HR lead positions in various industries, including FMCG, IT, banking, BPO, and consulting. She has significant accomplishments in organizational excellence and executed cross-functional improvement projects, turned around performance and gone through startup, shutdown, and M&A. He is also a certified SHRM professional with more than 25 years of experience in HR. Last but definitely not the least, Ms. Kit Dison.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Certainly very excited to be part of the World Vision CSR Summit. I'm excited to share with you the partnership between Willis Towers Watson and World Vision. Now, let me start first by describing Willis Towers Watson. We are the leading human capital and benefits consulting firm. We provide full service solutions when it comes to corporate risk and broking services. We're clear when it comes to our purpose, that's to provide clarity and confidence for a sustainable tomorrow. In other words, we are actually data geeks. We're very big when it comes to analytics, research, trying to look for thought leadership so we can provide advice to our clients when it comes to best practices to take care of their employees, their capital, and company risk. Definitely in terms of trying to sustain the future, it's not just for our clients, but because of our values of respect and making sure we have good citizenship in the community we live and work in. This is amplified by our CSR initiatives, that's via charitable giving, matching gifts, and volunteerism. As you can see here, we have what we call a WAVE volunteer group, and they encapsulate what we do in the CSR space of Willis Towers Watson. They have 4 advocacies that includes community building, environment, emergency response, and education. When it comes to community building, there's a group of street children from Cubao. We call them Cubao Kalakal kids. In reality, they're actually teenagers already. When it comes to environment, we have our annual tree planting activity that's in San Miguel, Bulacan, via our support to Green Earth Foundation. And of course, we do have a lot of emergency response due to various calamities and disasters. But it's actually in education where we had our strong partnership with World Vision. And in all these activities, Willis Towers Watson would match our donation and would give us what we call Volunteer Day. Now, when we asked World Vision to provide us a partnership with a school which we can support beyond dole out, they selected Manlagtang Elementary School for us. And the clincher was it was described as a school where hardly any help reaches them because they're too far flung. And given it's our DNA in Willis Towers Watson to help provide solutions, it seems to be a good match in terms of sponsoring the school. We were asked to raise 490,000, and definitely this was a good challenge for our WAVE team. We also had our other interest groups partner with us, and it was decided that we will be able to raise this money via Run to Rebuild program. And before we knew it, we were selling tickets to our employees and even to their pets so they can join our Run to Rebuild. And before we knew it, kaching, we reached 500,000 and our company matched it with 500,000. That's why we were able to donate 1 million to World Vision. And it was certainly a wonderful experience when we had the chance to visit the ribbon cutting of Manlagtang School. So you can see here the 3 classroom building that we were able to provide. Now, definitely, Manlagtang, Tabogon, Cebu was a long way from Metro Manila. We had to fly. It was a 3-hour van ride of different terrains, mountains, seas, and rough roads. But definitely, it was humanized for us because when we went there, we met the students, the teachers, and the principal. So definitely a good experience that until now I vividly remember. So very unique in terms of meeting the students. They prepared a program for us, and it's a bit, it's humbling that via a group of professionals running around raising funds, now we have this 3 classroom building for the wonderful students in Manlagtang. Now, when we went home several months after, World Vision told us, by the way, they don't have tables and chairs. So definitely there's affinity, as I said. It's not just a fundraiser for us. We got to meet the students and teachers, and we don't want them to be going to their classroom without tables and chairs. So before we knew it, our HCB leader had a fundraiser, and via the family day, they were able to raise funds for tables and chairs. So again, a good deed for the day for us. Then again, several months after, they told us that Manlagtang, they don't have a water system. And it was described, so what happens if the children need to do their business? They said that, okay, they need to look for a tree and do their business. And definitely we don't want the children, these are cute little children going to the trees. There might be big ants or bad elements there. So definitely, again, the WAVE group decided, let's come up with a movie premiere, and the beneficiary would be for the water system of Manlagtang School. For this activity, we were able to raise 300,000. So definitely there's affinity with Manlagtang School, given that it's a continuous partnership and growth for us in terms of the needs that the school has. Apart from Manlagtang, as you very well know, many others need help. So World Vision would always come to us in the various calamities and disasters. But what's good about it, it's not just WAVE, even our network groups like our LGBT community, they sold t-shirts so they can provide help for children with HIV. Our finance and HR teams combined efforts so we can provide yellow boat for children who had to cross the river to reach their school. And we are a long-standing partner of IDPAP in My Dream in a Shoebox. So this is naturally inculcated for us in terms of trying to help others. Now, come this year, definitely the pandemic, we were not prepared for it. It's not part of our BCP. Um, we started with helping in the Taal volcano eruption. But come COVID proper, naturally it's harder for us to sell tickets for movie premiere and marathon and sell t-shirts. But it was wonderful because our IT leader, Ice Dizon, was able to arrange a way for us to donate 100 laptops and monitors to World Vision. We're just fixing the documents behind it. But we were so excited for World Vision to provide this to teachers and students, which they think would have best use for this equipment given online schooling. So definitely in terms of CSR initiatives, this is driven by our Care Bears. That's our terms of endearment to our WAVE group. Um, and what may start out as pakikisama. So you have a group of WAVE volunteers who would offer tickets for cake raffle, tickets for movie premiere or marathon. Even if you don't feel like it, some employees buy it because precisely nakikisama sila. But that's fine because it's actually in this micro experiences wherein colleagues see and learn. They see the great help and wonderful difference that they can do despite the daunting task. So how do employees like us situated in BGC, how can we help students in Marinduque cross the river and give them a yellow boat? It can be, yes, as simple as buying t-shirts together so that the fund will be used to buy their yellow boat. Again, it's that stewardship that the micro experiences that becomes a company culture. I think in this time of pandemic where uncertainty and fear is very apparent, as Filipinos, we need to go back to the authentic culture and spirit of Filipinos, that is bayanihan. Ang totoong Pilipino, marunong makipagkapwa. And I think for us corporate influencers, we all know that inclusion and diversity is a big thing for us. We need to recognize the greatest exclusion in the Filipino society is poverty. So definitely we want to do good for the least and and forgotten of our brothers and sisters because it's good for us, good for our company, and good for our beloved country. So with that, thank you so much and take care.
Thank you so much,
And
Miss
this is a
Kit
picture of
Siman.
Manlaga. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And we are so grateful for our partnership with you. And we look forward to a meaningful partnership continually with Willis Towers Watson. So we are now down to our last segment. And we ask our speakers of the second half of our program to please turn on their mics and their videos. And maybe now call on again Miss Aneth Lim to moderate the discussion for this plenary and to recap the day for us.
Thank you, Laika. Loy, Pam, Kit, those are very detailed presentations. it's very hard for me to actually find a question because clearly you've had successes in all of the programs that you have developed. But I have to ask, the pandemic has taken a toll on everyone. And in many instances, the employees themselves were or are the ones who need help. So moving forward, how do you plan to adjust your CSR and volunteerism programs to the new normal? For instance, I know one of the popular programs is giving the employees the opportunity to interact with young children, and that's not something we can do in the foreseeable future. So to remain responsive to your employees' needs and also remain relevant to the larger community, what do you see the CSR programs to be in the new normal? Loy, would you like to answer it first?
The new normal brings a lot of changes.
So true.
And especially, of course, we also have our foundation, the PIMA Foundation. And we need, of course, we have to align with the needs of the communities. At this point in time, I think our focus, since we are more in people development, our focus now is continuously develop people. And how can we help also the younger ones? We're coming up with a boot camp for our students to help them. And also continuously our foundation is raising funds also in partnership with other organizations to support the students for their needs. I was so happy to note that one of our speakers from Watson, they were able to give 100 laptops, no? Oh, I wish will be also at least kahit na konti lang, but we're doing our best because PMAP is PMAP income generation depends so much also on our income for training. But you know, we're badly affected. No trainings for many months, for several months. Our face-to-face annual conference was canceled. Now we're coming up with digital, but everything changed. Actually, PMAP has to innovate really. And immediately, what we're in crisis. I am not ashamed to public say PMAP is in crisis because in PMAP we have to earn what we have to spend.
So
we
true.
we did not have any income, but a big but, we were able to serve our members and keep our people. That is what the most important thing. The relevance of the association. We are 64 years old and we have to protect the name of the association. So it's not all about money. It's about service. It's about commitment.
Yes. And Loy, I know PMAP keeps many employers in line. So we look forward to you getting over this crisis, and we know you guys can do it. Pam, you know, your industry is known to be very innovative. So we look to you also for innovation in CSR. What do you think?
So yeah, that's true. The new normal requires different, and definitely the things that we were doing before to get people together and volunteer and help will not be applicable during these times, you know, and I think that it can stretch up to even a year. And so, yes, we have to change tactics. Well, we have not really stopped helping because, like I said in my talk, we have continued to donate computers and network servers to schools so that they can continue with their online learning. And then at the same time, through our engagement passports, as well as, you know, through all of the other things that we're doing, our employees continue to do their own versions of helping in their own way. So it's either individual or teams. So we have teams, small teams, you know, because of the number that no more than 10 and all, who have gone out to help their favorite beneficiary, but still aligned to our advocacy. Definitely, I agree with Norma. We have to change some of our measures, as I mentioned, and we are including our employee engagement champions and our engagement volunteers and EIGs to sit down and come up with what are the things that we can do. Because but right now, while we are in that process of planning, as Norman said, charity starts at home, and our EIGs and engagement teams are all focused on how to take care of our team members, whether they are working from home or working on site. And our EIGs have taken the lead in coming up with different webinars on physical, so as well as mental health. And then we have launched our online leader-led activities, for masterclass to provide some leadership skills. And you can see that these are much appreciated. Even our Women Impact Network, as soon as school started in September, they created a webinar to help our employees who are parents to cope, because it is so hard when you're working from home and at the same time tutoring your kids and doing the chores. So how do you cope with all of that? So right now we're taking care of our employees, and even through our activities, that is very much the focus. But definitely we have to come up for 2021 some new and creative and innovative ways to do our volunteerism. Thank you, Annette.
Thank you. And now, Kim, can we hear from you?
Yes. Thank you for that question. I just wanted to provide context, like in terms of reimagining employment. First, we were at the stage of work and life balance. Then it evolved into work-life integration. What the pandemic showed us, given the many virtual meetings and our uh, our way of looking at the life of our employees, it's now an acknowledgement and humanizing of our employees. It's now life, and a component of life is work. So we definitely need to take care of our employees as human beings, as what Norman shared earlier. It's taking care of our employees first, their families, and it will naturally grow again in terms of taking care of the society. Um, Again, there's mental health challenges. We needed to help parents in terms of doing their work at the same time trying to cook and care for homeschooling. This is not something that we're used to. We want to ensure that employment is stable. What's good about Willis Towers Watson is, even if we don't have the company initiated CSR programs, our colleagues can still choose their CSR of choice, and the company will still match it. So right now, as mentioned, it's caring for employees, their family, and society. Thank you.
I like that part about matching, because if there's one thing we in the Philippines don't have a shortage of, it's the opportunity to help. I mean, you can just walk down one street and you will find many ways to be able to give back to the community. Thank you so much to our speakers. And just allow me to give a quick recap of the two-day events that we've had. So as the world continues to face the challenges and effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, no one, not even established business and corporations, have been exempt from the adverse effects of this deadly and highly contagious virus. And this afternoon, we saw how the private sector and civil society are mobilizing their resources and network to lend a helping hand to those in need. We've also witnessed companies and foundations continuing their corporate social responsibility programs and activities despite the economic challenges brought by the community quarantines and health protocols. So undeniably, CSR programs have significantly contributed in our nation's battle against COVID-19. So yesterday and today, World Vision organized this virtual CSR Summit to celebrate the gains of CSR in our country and further promote corporate social responsibility. World Vision works with many corporate entities, providing them access to the development work we do in our communities where the most vulnerable children can be found. These communities are in most need of support for basic necessities like educational programs, health programs, and various economic and livelihood support. During the COVID-19 pandemic, World Vision was able to reach more than 3 million individuals by providing PPEs to our medical frontliners, sanitation kits for families, hospitals and health centers, and cash assistance. And we could not have done this alone. In yesterday's session, we talked about finding solutions during the pandemic. It meant comprehensive solutions. We need multi-partners from both public and private sectors, not just relief efforts, but also strengthening the stakeholders in moving forward. The pandemic may have started as a health challenge, but it is really a socio-economic issue that needs to be tackled not only by the public sector, but with a lot of help from the private sector. There is no other way for all of us to move forward but to collaborate and partner together. Collaboration allows all of us to leverage and bring together resources far larger than any of us on our own can do. It is very important for businesses to know their stakeholders, especially their customers by heart, to meet their changing needs and help them succeed during this pandemic. And just this afternoon, we saw how companies are stepping up to become a force for good for their employees, their customers, and to the larger community. They are also doing their part to drive growth to our ailing economy. Before we end our CSR Summit, I would like to call the Vice Chairperson of World Vision, Board of Trustees, to deliver our closing remarks. He also serves as microfinance consultant with the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and is the president of Kabalikat para sa Maunlad na Buhay, a microfinance nonprofit aiding the marginalized with access to life-changing financial products and services. Please welcome Mr. Ed Jimenez.
Thank you, Annette, and good day, everyone. Wow, I've seen women power at work in the last 3 hours or 2 hours or so. Great job. Anyway, let me move on. Good day, as I said, good day, everyone. We are thankful, at the same time humbled by the response and support you have given to this CSR Summit. This is certainly one of the highlights and gains of collaboration among the private sector, the government, and other like-minded organizations and individuals. We come out here as stronger partners and more inspired, in a sense, as CSR champions, sharing common goals and complementing unique social efforts for the benefit of our people and the building of a greater nation, especially in the light of the COVID time right now. We may be facing serious challenges as a country at the moment. Of course, included to that would be the business sector and the business community. But this should not stop us to work together. Many are counting on us for innovation and forging sustainable solutions to address the pressing problems of the communities near us or surrounding us. I personally believe in the mantra, innovate or stagnate. And all of us here are being challenged to indeed innovate and to think beyond the box and in the light of the new normal we are into. As the lives of each individual in a community is uplifted, so is the morale of our employees who choose to cheerfully volunteer and serve back to our people. In the book of Proverbs, and let me quote, it says, "The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." How true that even in the light of this pandemic that we have, in these trying times, it is good that as one nation, we remember our brothers and sisters, especially the most vulnerable children and their families. As we say in World Vision, we are one for children. We are one in lifting up lives of people, especially the vulnerable children and those in this generation. These are the future movers, the entrepreneurs, and the leaders of this country. We are but one humanity trying to make a better world, to make a difference, one child, one family, one community, and one company at a time. I call on our friends and peers from various industries to continue doing the good work together. Be steadfast and let not the problem or the challenge being posed to us cause us to move backward. We will carry on, and with God's help, even as someone said that efficiency without God's sufficiency is deficiency. Finally, as I end this, in these uncertain times, let us continue to trust God, for His grace is sufficient. I leave you with a word from the book of Corinthians, which says, and let me read, and God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. Again, thank you for being part of this summit. And as we close, blessing from above. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez, for your message. And that concludes World Vision's two-day virtual CSR Summit. Doing good. All of our speakers who generously shared their knowledge with us during the event. We would also like to express our gratitude to all our sponsors who generously helped in making this event possible. Our corporate partners, Urbanize and U Elements, our media partners, Inquirer.net, Business Mirror, RMN Foundation Inc., Net25, and Business World. Our event partners, Ardent Communications, Marketing Interactive, Asia CEO, Page One Manila, The Luzon Daily, The Visayas Journal, The Mindanao Life, The Philippine Post, Women.ph, and the Public Relations Society of the Philippines. Lastly, we would like to thank all of you who have promoted this event, joined and participated in our sessions and panel discussions. Your support inspires our organization to keep moving forward with programs and events that will bring a positive impact today. We hope to see you in our next CSR Summit. Stay safe and God bless everyone.